Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning in to the day's energies, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Feel like I'm taking shallow breaths. Maybe you can take a nice deep breath with me, filling your belly. Give yourself a nice big Santa belly. Hold. And then release. Nice. All right. Well, let's get started. Let's look at what we've got going on for today's reading. I've got the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, old school. So the overall energy of today's reading is the Eight of Wands in reverse. A lack of flow, a lack of passion, lack of energy, movement, action. Feeling stuck. What's this lack of flow, this stuck energy about? Ooh, Star card. I love how in this image she's got the water flowing. She's healing, bringing balance, creating more flow. Also, the Star card, Aquarian energy. Looks like the Aquarian Ascension Pool. And the North Star, North Node above her head. Feels like things have slowed down so you could heal. So you can take the time to drop into your feminine energy. It's not about doing, achieving, moving, but taking this time to heal, to ascend, to become more conscious, become more authentically yourself, and go after what that one big thing is. And only you can figure out, viewer, what that one big thing is that you want. All right, so healing, taking this opportunity of the lack of action, lack of flow, and kind of rebalancing. It looks like with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and Five of Swords in reverse, challenged by the Four of Cups, that you're healing from a period of time of lessons, being in lesson. You might have been learning about power dynamics, control, someone taking your power away, someone bullying you, someone asserting their dominance over you. It looks like you've ended that. And it feels like right now that it's time to heal. I'm also getting the Four of Cups as a challenge, and the overall energy feels like you've lost taste for something that at some point you enjoyed. So it feels like you are in some type of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. Some type of connection where someone was taking your power. Someone was keeping you down, keeping you small. manipulating you, just dominating over you. And so it looks like you're healing, it looks like as you heal, that the Aquarian pool brings your awareness, your understanding. You can't understand what's happening while you're in the midst of this energy, while you're going through it. As you leave the environment, and if you're willing to heal, then it looks like then you start understanding what you just experienced, kind of process through. And the more emotions that you heal, then the more wisdom you have access to. And then you can make some new choices, new decisions, new you. All right, moving on. In Hidden Blessings, we have the Page of Cups. Sweet energy, sweet messages. All right, so okay. Hidden Blessings. But there's something here about not taking action. The four energies are kind of bummer energies as I'm reading them. Just a lack of belief in something different, a different possibility. There's something around, it feels like romantic relationships specifically, that feels like it's hard for you to use your intuition, to tap into your guidance system. Why is it so difficult for the viewer to tap into kind of that sweet, loving energy? Sweet, kind, innocent type of energy. What I'm picking up here, it feels like how you were raised, what you believe love is not. So you were trained, conditioned, like, this is love. You've got a roof over your head. You've got fed. Of course I love you. I mean, it's not loving energy. It feels like you might have been raised to believe that certain actions equate being loved. However, very rarely were you actually loved, just for emotionally feeling safe and secure to be yourself. Not because you were fulfilling someone else's need and so they were appreciating you or sending you validation or something like that, but just because you exist, just because of who you are, someone loving you and caring for you and about you, and that you could receive on an emotional level because you felt safe and secure and loved and cared for, so you could receive that. And what I'm getting here is how you were raised, whatever that is of what love is. It feels like a dissociative state for some, where you go off and you imagine kind of this fantastic fantasy, dissociative, everything's fine, I'm loved, I'm cared for, and kind of imagining. So maybe in your childhood you imagined that you were loved as a way to protect yourself, and so love to you was kind of a fantasy, and that you don't pay attention to how the person is making you feel, the reality of the situation. You're just, this is love. Like, it feels maybe normal to your nervous system, but it feels like overgiving, maybe being in a state of chronic fawning, people pleasing, caring for others, which and totally leaving your needs and wants behind. That's not loving. Being a martyr in life, I've given so much. That's not loving. That's kind of using guilt and shame. All right, so why is this a blessing? It feels like you're working towards a different legacy, something real, bringing love out of a fantasy, out of a fiction, out of a dissociative event, and bringing it into reality. Feels like you might be defining for yourself, redefining for yourself what love is. What love feels like in a healed nervous system. What love feels like when you don't have to work for it. When it's not transactional. So it feels like there's a lot of, I know what love is not. And it feels like you're investigating those loving feelings and bringing down into reality what a new version of what love is to you, and building on that. Yes, it looks like you had to get out of some type of comfort zone, face your fears, go through a very painful ending. So I can see why there's this kind of stuck energy. Also, what's it also looks confusing is that whole passion element. Fiery, hot. Yeah, that does complicate things. It feels good. And, okay. So I'm getting, there's a mixture. So it feels like I'm talking to somebody from childhood who was raised not in a loving environment. Someone making sure your basic needs are met is not love. It just isn't. If you have to think about, well, they love me because da-da, versus someone who was raised in a loving environment, they don't have to figure out if they were loved. They know it because they feel it. I feel loved. I was loved. I was cared for. I was uplifted. It would be in your emotions, in your feelings, and feeling supported, feeling cared for who you are, not who you need to be to please others. And so it looks like feels like passion, hot, steamy attraction has been difficult because having I'm tuning into a childhood of unmet needs and wants. Not feeling like you belong, not feeling cared for, not feeling fully safe. And so when you start dating, when you become a certain age, then it feels like the attention you got, that fiery passion and desire, you finally were wanted. Someone wanted you, but that's confusing because they wanted you for their own ends, their own means to an end kind of thing. So it feels like you are learning, kind of patterning, reconstructing, shifting how you perceive love and desire. What's interesting is there's this very mature, loving energy here. It looks like because your willingness to heal from what you've gone through, to take the time it takes to shift, to become your most authentic self and go towards that one big dream. And it looks like you are kind of reworking what love is, figuring out for yourself, like an explorer. And finding out for yourself, what is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. And it looks like you're attracting someone who's mature as well, emotionally mature. Hot dog. Wow. All right. What you're leaving behind is the Tower in reverse. So the Tower is the collapsing of a false reality. These two people went inside the Tower and started building the Tower around them, brick by brick, creating a false reality around them, not grounded in reality. And so when this lightning strikes and the universe strikes the crown, they fall out of the tower, and it's happening for them because you can't really create in a false reality. It's not real. In the Tower reverse, this is someone who's trying desperately to keep that false reality from collapsing, fix it, holding it together, ignoring reality, not grounded in reality, doing whatever it takes to keep something that's not real, but keep it together. You might have been raised to be a fix-it. As I was reading this energy, so you might have, as an infant, as a toddler, been responsible for how your parents feel. Oh my gosh, you're just so loud. You're making so much noise. Yes, because that's age-appropriate noise. And those are age-appropriate emotions. It feels like you were made to feel bad because you had appropriate behaviors as an infant and child, young toddler, young child. And it's not about your care, but whoever was setting the energy in the space. You need to make them comfortable. You need to make them happy. You need to behave in a way. There we go. You need to behave in a way that they can tolerate you. So emotionally immature parents that make you responsible for how they're feeling. And so that might have started a belief of people pleasing, fixing, repairing. It's my job to make everybody happy, to make everybody comfortable. Looks like you're leaving that behind. It also looks like there's something here about you doing the labor, the work, And there's no reciprocity here. So you uplift and do all the emotional labor, physical labor, spiritual labor, mental labor, and it feels one way. I see you're a very capable person, so I get, but it feels like you're operating from that high function, uplifting everyone else, but it's not practicing reciprocity. It's just practicing overgiving. And if you don't practice reciprocity and receiving, then what you're practicing is overgiving, and you attract takers. And what I'm seeing here is what you're leaving behind is doing all the work. All right, moving on. We've got moving on energy. This is how to get the most of the energy. Six of Swords. Moving on to calmer shores. This is also my card for nervous system healing. Healing your nerves. Feels like if you take the time out to heal, to become a healed version of yourself, it looks like you've gone through a lot of experiences that, if you allow, will shape you into a version of yourself that you really enjoy. But there's a need to take some time, the time it takes to heal, to reassess what love is for you, maybe deprogram that and heal from those old wounds. For some of you, I'm talking about what you've already done. For some of you, it feels like you're going into this energy, and for some of you, you're right in the middle of this. So, all right, it feels like nervous system healing as well. So healing your belief systems, changing how you perceive love, no longer in fix-it mode, no longer trying to chase. That's a trauma response, chasing someone to try to get them to care about you, to love you. Needing someone to care about you, because when you're a child, you literally are dependent on your parents for survival, to feed you, to care for you, so you could live. As an adult, being raised in this type of environment, it's like there hasn't been a full maturing. And you might get stuck as an adult in that belief that my life depends on convincing this person to care about me, to love me. And so it starts this kind of, your nervous system is used to chasing and not receiving love, of having to work for it, to have to plead and beg and twist yourself. And so then that person manipulates you and gets you accepting little and less, gets you working hard, gets you doing all the work, all the labor, while they do nothing. And so it feels like as you heal your nervous system, when you get to boredom, I'm bored, that's fantastic. Don't start looking for the next drama. It feels like drama, being in conflict, feels more normal, and feeling bored feels like maybe some anxiety about, okay, Everything's calm, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So can you get to boredom? Sit in that boredom. Don't try to fill that space. Bored, bored, bored. And on the other side of that, when you keep going through that boredom, sit with the boredom. On the other side of that boredom is new creative energy. Not recreating trauma, not recreating drama, really healing and letting go that life can be different, that you can change. All right. What's supporting you is justice, balance, Libra energy. This is a happy card because there's yellow. And in the tarot, whenever there's yellow, it's meant to be a happy card. He's got his sword up, so truth. Feels like you're very discerning. What's supporting you is staying balanced in your thoughts. Staying balanced. Not going down that old chestnut of, well, it could have been, it should have been. That not helpful. Accepting reality for what it is. Not what it should be, not what you perceive people should have done. Once you're able to see what is, just clock it. Head over heart, leave the emotions out of it, leave the story out of it, and discern and start dealing with what's in reality. If you're coming from a false reality, trying to hold some false reality apart, it's scary. It's terrifying to wake up inside of a relationship that you've been just putting all your energy and effort into, keeping something from falling apart that's keeping you miserable, that is the actual source of your discontent. At first it's very terrifying, and there's tons of repressed emotions that come up to be felt, real emotions from reality. It's very confusing. And so as balanced as you can be, what's reality? What's the truth of the situation? Don't try to create another false reality, but just stay with reality, because you can co-create in the real world. You can co-create with the earth, with the all that is, with source. There's a lot of creative energy. And so it's important to stay balanced in your thoughts, not go off into the weeds in your thoughts, because that creates Six of Swords in reverse. Anxiety. Not moving on. It feels like the overall intention for whoever this reading is to heal and step into your star energy. Become a new version of yourself, the most authentic version of yourself, without all this programming and conditioning in your space. Allowing yourself to see things from a different vantage point. Healing, as my perspective of what I've seen, healing through something like this. It's not about you stay the same size and you've got to get rid of parts of you. As a matter of fact, healing is unscattering your energy, bringing back parts of yourself to the present, so you're complete and whole in the present energy, because that's where all your power is, in the present. And so healing is expanding, making enough space for everything that you've gone through. If your emotions are overwhelmed, first get everybody out of your emotions, out of your energy. So I'm feeling enmeshment. So part of what's so difficult when the false reality collapses is that you've got so many people in your own space and you can't find yourself. You've been operating out here on the outside of your aura, people pleasing, not caring for yourself, not aligned with your own energies, but centering someone else in your experience. And so it feels like there's a rebalancing, so you can come back to you, so you can expand and create enough space and understanding so you can contain everything that you've gone through, those experiences, and grow from them. Become a larger version of yourself. When you expand, you can see different aspects. You can see, yes, that was true, but this is even a different perspective, on the truth. And more understanding, the more you expand your consciousness and awareness, instead of playing small and being small, the more you grow, the more you understand. Honestly, the less you become less cooperative to people who are toxic, and you become a little Flyby by Boo Boo and JJ. Oh, Boo Boo's doing another one. Oh, I love that. Oh, here we go, a third one. Yay, Boo Boo. Yep, lost the train of... That was so happy. That was so... And it feels like allowing experiences, new experiences to come in to allow you to grow and enjoy life and have new perspectives. All right, moving on to what to be mindful of is the Nine of Cups in reverse. A lack of blessings, a lack of happiness. This is my card when Nine of Cups is in reverse. There's no blessings and no happiness, very little, because you've centered someone else in your experience. When you are focused on yourself, your own energy, you're grounded into reality, and you know how to take care of yourself. You know what your beliefs are. You know what you want in life. You know how to create healthy boundaries. Then blessings come in. You're aligned with your own energy, and so the universe can find you because you're in your frequencies. You're in that range of frequencies, so what's for you can find you. When you chronically over time center someone else in your experience, like you were raised to care for other people's needs before your own, to give until you can't give anymore, and then rest so you can give some more. That just creates chasing, yearning, a chronic state of yearning. And what you're really yearning for is your own beautiful energy. You miss yourself. You think you miss that person, that you want something from them. But what you're wanting is your own alignment, your own energy. It feels like being raised in an environment not to believe, because it's true, that you are lovable right now with all the mistakes you've made in life, the accolades, with the whole mix. No matter how you feel about yourself right now, you are lovable. You are deserving of love and care. if you believe that you have to somehow prove yourself and work for love, then that is the conditioning that you could clear out. I'm lovable as is. I don't want to attract someone who's in this old way of being, who needs me to center them in my experience. So I lose myself. So I give everything. It feels like being mindful of centering others in your experience. Why would they want that? Why would they want you to lose yourself? They're not doing the same. Yeah, that creates justice reverse, injustice. So it feels like I really want this person, and I feel like I've got to give up who I am to chase them. It's kind of creating your own injustices, this behavior. When you center someone in your experience too, it feels like you become less and less. You become like a shadow, a very small version of yourself, because you're so out of alignment with who you are and all your energies, and you're focusing on someone else. And so it makes you vulnerable. It sets you up for being vulnerable, being taken advantage of. And someone specifically, it feels like someone blaming you, that you're to blame. And so they can feel blameless. They can feel good about themselves. So it's all your fault, viewer. And it's not true, but it feels like this type of relationship just sets you up for unhappiness. Is there anything else that the viewer needs to be mindful of? Two of Cups reversed, Four of Pentacles reversed. There's something about letting go of a past breakup, letting go of the activity. There's something about letting go of the belief systems, letting go of that's what a relationship is. It feels like you are doing this. It feels like you're no longer centering someone else. You're no longer accepting a lack of equity in a relationship. It feels like what you're wanting is reciprocity. And you're not holding on. You're not clinging on. I need this. It feels like you're letting go of a past way of relating and not entering a relationship in that need, unmet needs. It feels like you've learned how to meet your own needs. And so relationships don't become about unmet needs. I can't do this, so I need you to do that for me. Well, I can't do that, so I need you to. Codependency, or depending on someone. It feels like you're maturing, realizing, well, I can meet my own needs. So now relationships are about friendship, connection, passion, exploration. Yeah, nice. All right, I'm going to do an extended reading. There's a link in the description box below. It says extended reading here. You click on that link, it takes you right to part 2 on Patreon, where I'll be looking at health, relationships, creativity, new opportunities, and career and finance. So I'll see you over there, and if not, thank you so much for being here. Take care.